Welcome back, Big Blue Nation. If you don't love football, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
This is the place where the tea is hot, the takes are spicy, and frankly, the New York Giants are hiring people faster than I can lose my remote under the couch.
It is definitely a chaotic time in the front office, but for once, it feels like chaos with a distinct, calculated purpose.
The purpose. I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I am still recovering from the news earlier this week. We have to address the elephant in the room before we get to the good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Carmen Bricillo is gone. And I have to say, I am not happy about it.
It was a surprising move, for sure. For many, Bricillo was seen as one of the few bright spots on the coaching staff last year.
Bright spot. He was a lighthouse in a hurricane. That offensive line finally had a pulse. We finally stopped looking like a turnstile convention, and then poof, he's out the door to go to a division rival. That stings. It feels like we're just leaking talent.
It is a significant loss, and it really highlights the volatility of the current situation. I mean, when you have a massive regime change, you often lose good coaches who they don't fit the new timeline or they want stability somewhere else.
It feels like chaos.
Yeah.
I know. Everyone's been refreshing their feeds, trying to figure out who is actually in the building and who just got locked out.
Yeah.
But despite the Bricillo heartbreak, we need to center ourselves.
Right.
Because the front office didn't just sit there crying over it. They went out and made some moves that have me, absolutely buzzing.
They did. And that's really what we need to unpack here, right? We're not just reacting to headlines. We are analyzing a complete organizational restructuring. We're looking at two massive hires that don't just fill vacancies. They signal a complete shift in identity.
We're talking about the new defensive heavy hitters.
Oh.
We've got Dennard Wilson taking over as defensive coordinator. And we have Chris Horton coming in as the special teams coordinator and assistant head coach.
Those are the names on the door, yeah. But the context, the how, and the why, that's the real story here.
Oh, absolutely. The Giants didn't just recruit a coach with Chris Horton. They recruited a title.
Yeah.
And I love it. It feels like we finally got aggressive.
It was a strategic maneuver, almost like a heist. To really get why this matters, you have to understand the landscape of NFL coaching contracts and the anti-tampering rules about lateral moves.
Okay, let's unpack this title heist. Because this feels like a scene out of Ocean's 11, but with clipboards. We know the Ravens have that John Harbaugh connection we love so much. Seriously, can we just acknowledge that the Harbaugh coaching tree is the gift that keeps on giving?
It is the gold standard for coaching development right now. But that is exactly why the Ravens were so protective. The Giants requested to interview Chris Horton.
Okay.
At the time, Horton was the special teams coordinator for Baltimore. The Giants wanted him for the same position.
And the Ravens put up a stop sign, right? They basically said, don't even look at him.
Correct. Under NFL rules, a team can block an assistant coach from interviewing with another team if the move is considered lateral.
So, same job, different team.
Exactly. Special teams coordinator in Baltimore to special teams coordinator in New York, that's lateral. So the Ravens had the contractual right to deny the request. They wanted to keep their guy.
So they were legally allowed to hold him hostage. That's standard procedure, I get it. Teams hoard good coaches like I hoard snacks during a game.
Yeah.
But the Giant front office played what we can call big blue chess.
They did. They looked at the rejection and realized the only way to get past the block was to offer a promotion. You cannot block a promotion in the NFL. If a coach is moving up the ladder, their current team can't stand in their way.
So the Giants looked at the offer sheet and said, okay, you want to play hardball, watch this.
They added assistant head coach to the offer.
It's assistant head coach. It sounds so fancy.
It's more than fancy. It's the golden ticket. By adding that title, they technically turned the job offer into a promotion in the eyes of the league.
And that stripped the Ravens of their power.
Completely. They couldn't block the interview anymore.
They sprinkled that title on top like parsley on a plate. And suddenly the Ravens couldn't hold him back. It's brilliant. It's petty. It's exactly the kind of energy I want this team to have.
It's secured the talent, for sure. But it also speaks to the desperation or maybe the urgent necessity of fixing the unit he's coming to lead.
No, it was about survival. Let's be real. The special teams unit recently has been a roller coaster powered by raccoons.
That is a vivid image.
But it's true. One week we're blocking kicks, flipping momentum, and I'm hearing angels singing the next week. We're giving up a return so long it looked like the stadium had a moving walkway on the sideline.
Consistency has been the missing piece, and that is precisely what Horton brings. He comes from that Baltimore DNA.
Right.
If you look at the Ravens over the last decade, their special teams philosophy is very simple. We don't beat ourselves.
And thank goodness for that. I am so tired of special teams being the part of the game that makes me spill my tea all over the living room rug. But tell me, why is this assistant head coach title worth it? Is it just a loophole, or does he actually bring something extra?
It's both. It gets him in the building, yes. But Horton is known for his leadership. The assistant head coach role often implies that he'll have a voice in game management, scheduling, overall team discipline.
So it's a real title.
It is. It suggests the organization views him as a future head coach candidate.
So we got a heavy hitter. We didn't just get a guy to blow a whistle during punt drills. We got a guy who commands the room.
Exactly. And when you look at the hidden yardage argument, his value skyrockets. We focus on offense, defense, but field position is statistically one of the biggest predictors of winning. If your special teams consistently loses the net punt average by 5 or 10 yards, you're forcing your offense to get an extra first down every single drive just to break even.
That puts it in perspective. It's about not starting every single drive at your own 8-yard line like you owe the end zone money. We need to flip the field. We need that boring competence.
Boring competence is actually a high compliment in this phase of the game, and Horton's the guy to bring that structure. But while Horton secures the floor, the headline hire, the one that signals the philosophical shift for the ceiling of this team, is Dennard Wilson.
New defensive coordinator. Now, this is fascinating because it's a bit of a full circle moment. We've got a boomerang situation here.
The NFL boomerang, as they say.
Right, because the Giants wanted him before. Back when things were shifting around previously, he was a target. He said no thanks back then. Probably looked at the state of the roster or the instability and thought, I'm good.
Or maybe the timing just wasn't right for his career trajectory at that specific moment.
Sure, be diplomatic. I think he saw the mess and walked away. But now, he's back. He's pulling up to the facility, ready to work. That says something about the current direction, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests that despite the chaos we talked about, like Russillo leaving respected coaches view this defensive roster as a place where they can succeed, it raises the question of fit. Why Wilson? And why now?
I know the fan reaction has been all over the place. You've got people screaming, let's go, because they know his rep with defensive backs. But then you've got others at 2 a.m. Googling, who is Dennard Wilson?
He isn't a household name.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. It's the connection.
It's the HarBALL connection.
We love the HarBALL connection.
It's undeniable. Wilson has worked within that coaching tree, specifically with the Ravens, recently as their DBs coach.
Yeah.
This isn't the Giants throwing a dart at a list of coaches and hoping it sticks. This is about trust and familiarity.
It feels like he isn't a stranger entering the building. He's someone who already has the philosophical link to the direction we want to go. He's got the hoodie. He's got the mindset. He understands the culture.
So specifically, he understands the culture of accountability. The Harbaugh tree is famous for being player-friendly, but demanding extreme attention to detail. Wilson is known as a fiery, intense teacher.
Good.
He isn't a clipboard holder. He is in the drills, sweating with the players.
I love that. We need that fire. However, we do have to address the elephant in the room. Or rather, the elephant in the stat sheet.
Right.
Because if we're going to be objective, we cannot ignore the numbers from his time with the Titans.
It is important to look at the data, yes.
The critics are already loud. They look at his time as DC for Tennessee and say the Titans' defensive numbers weren't great. And I have to admit, when I first looked at points allowed, my eyebrows did a synchronized backflip. They gave up a lot of points.
It's a valid concern if you only look at the surface level stuff. The points allowed were high, they were near the bottom of the league. But this is why you have to dig deeper. If you stop at points allowed, you miss the context of how those points were scored.
Okay, break it down for us. Why was there such a gap between how the defense looked, which felt competitive, and the actual points they gave up?
Well, if you look at yards allowed, and specifically yards per play, they're actually quite decent, competitive, especially in red zone efficiency. The disparity comes from the situation they were constantly placed in. You have to look at the factors surrounding the defense, high turnovers by the offense, short fields, and just getting dominated in time of possession.
It's like being the best chef in town, but the waiter keeps dropping the plate right before serving it. You cooked a great meal, but nobody got to eat it.
That's a fair analogy. When an offense turns the ball over constantly or goes 3 and out over and over, The defense suffers from what I call defense back on the field again syndrome.
They're out there gasping for air. The offense coughs up the ball, and the defense is forced back on the field screaming, "Bro, just sat down."
Precisely. But more importantly, look at field position. If the offense throws a pick at their own 30-yard line, the defense is already defending a scoring opportunity. Even if they hold them to a field goal, that goes on the points allowed stat sheet.
Right. So the stat sheet blames the defense, but reality blames the situation.
So you have to ask, was it bad coaching or was it just bad circumstances wearing a trench coat?
I'm going the trench coat. You can't defend a 20-yard field all game and expect a shutout.
Yeah.
So if we strip away the bad circumstances, the turnovers, the short fields, what are we actually getting with Wilson? What's the scheme? Because I keep hearing this word aggressive.
This is where the excitement is warranted, and we need to get a little technical here to understand why Giants fans should be excited. Wilson's style isn't just blitz and scream. It's not chaos for the sake of chaos. It is calculated aggression built on disguise.
Disguise. I love that word when it comes to defense. It sounds mischievous.
It relies heavily on communication, zone structure, and post-snap movement. The goal is to present one picture to the quarterback before the snap and a completely different one the moment the ball is hiked.
The old bait and switch. I love it. It's the horror movie effect.
Explain that.
Okay, so picture this. You show the QB a nice, safe, too high safety look. Two safeties deep, right? The QB looks at that and thinks, sweet, middle of field is open. I got my slot guy on a post route. Easy money.
Right, that's the pre-snap read. He sees the shell of the defense and assumes he knows where the open space is going to be.
So he snaps the ball, all confident. And then bam, the moment the ball moves, one of those safeties rotates down into the box, the linebacker drops into the lane. And suddenly that open middle of the field is closed. There's a defender appearing out of nowhere like a slasher villain.
That is the ideal outcome, yes. It's a post-snap rotation. It forces the quarterback to process new information after the play is started. In a normal defense, the QB confirms his read and throws. In a Wilson defense, the QB has to reread the whole thing while 300-pound men are trying to tackle him.
But, and I must stress this, that sounds complicated.
It is. It requires extremely high discipline.
Because everyone has to be moving on a string.
Exactly. If the safety rotates down late, or if the linebacker doesn't drop deep enough, you aren't just giving up a completion, you are leaving a massive hole wide open.
Then it's a touchdown, and we are all yelling at the TV screen like it owes us rent.
It is high risk, high reward, but it puts the mental burden on the opposing quarterback. Instead of just reacting, he has to diagnose the defense in real time.
And that brings us to the Giants roster. Because let's be honest, our roster is not the Titans roster. We have some legitimate dudes on that defensive line.
We do. And that is the multiplier effect. The Titans, they struggle getting consistent pressure with just 4 guys. The Giants, theoretically, have pass rushers who can actually get home without needing a huge blitz.
So how does the pass rush help the disguise?
It accelerates the clock. If the quarterback is confused by the disguise, he hesitates. He has to hold the ball for just that extra half second to figure out what he's looking at.
And in the NFL, that half second is an eternity.
It's the difference between a completion and a sack. If the pass rush is getting there in 2.5 seconds, and the disguise makes the QB hold the ball for 2.8 seconds.
That is a strip sack that has me doing a T-sip celebration dance in my living room.
It changes the whole geometry of the game.
Yeah.
If the QB can't trust his pre-snap read, he plays slower.
Yeah.
If he plays slower, the pass rush gets there. And if the pass rush gets there, the DBs don't have to cover for 5 or 6 seconds. It's all connected.
That is the defensive wish list right there. I want to stop the back-breaking runs, sure. I want to tighten coverage windows. But mostly, I want to make quarterbacks hesitate. I want them to fear the confusion.
That is how you make a defense feel mean. It isn't just about hitting hard. It is about psychological pressure. It's about making the QB doubt what his eyes are seeing.
I am ready for a mean defense. I am ready for opposing teams to hate playing us. But going back to Chris Horton for a second.
Yes, back to special teams.
While I want the defense to be mean and scary and confusing, I have a desperate plea regarding special teams. Chris Horton, if you're listening, please, just stop the terror.
The terror of the kickoff return.
Yes. I want to go a whole season without seeing that seam open up and thinking, oh no, here we go again. I don't need fireworks. I don't need trick plays.
You want stability.
I want boring competence. Boring is beautiful. Boring is peaceful. Boring means I can enjoy my big blue tea without flinching every time the ball is kicked.
And honestly, boring competence on special teams usually translates to winning football games. If you aren't talking about the special teams unit on Monday morning, they probably did a great job.
Exactly. Let's make them invisible in the best way possible. Now let's zoom out a bit. We've got Wilson, we've got Horton, we have the assistant head coach heist, we have the heartbreak of losing Brasillo. What does all this tell us about the new era?
It tells us that the organization is willing to shake the foundation. This isn't just a fresh coat of paint. This is significant staff turnover, roles changing, departments getting reshaped.
It feels like someone's mom came into the facility, looked around at the mess, and said, "Y'all been living like this," and started throwing stuff out.
It's a housekeeping moment for sure. And whether fans love the moves or hate them, you can't deny there is movement. There is a clear direction. They are targeting specific personality types, high energy, detail-oriented, aggressive teachers.
And direction is something Giants fans have been begging for, like it's extra sauce at the drive-thru. We have been starving for a plan. For so long, it felt like we were just throwing things at the wall.
But the plan isn't complete yet, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention the missing piece, the piece that actually determines what happens next.
No, it's not complete. Because while we are celebrating the defense and special teams, there is a giant glaring void staring us in the face.
The offensive coordinator.
We are still waiting. We have the DC, we have special teams. But we're staring at the offense like, so you're gonna put on your shoes or what?
And that is the linchpin. We can talk about defensive identity and special teams competence all day, but in the modern NFL, the OC decision will dictate everything that follows.
It's a domino effect, isn't it? It's not just about calling plays on Sunday.
Absolutely not. Think about the timeline. We're approaching free agency and the draft. The choice of OC determines the scheme. The scheme determines who you target in free agency.
Right. If we hire a guy who wants to run the ball 40 times a game, that changes everything.
Exactly. Do you need a power blocking guard or a zone blocking guard? Do you need a slot receiver who works short areas or a vertical threat? These are fundamentally different players.
It determines your draft plans, too. We have a high pick. If you hire an OC who loves the air raid, maybe you prioritize a different receiver at pick number 6 than if you hire a West Coast guy.
Precisely. It also determines which players on the current roster fit and which ones might not. So until that OC chair is filled, the blueprint is incomplete. The scouting department is basically on hold until they know what they're shopping for.
It's the missing piece of the puzzle. And my biggest hope is that whoever it is, they bring an identity that doesn't change every time the wind blows. I just want us to know who we are.
Consistency seems to be the theme of this whole thing. Wilson brings a consistent system. Horton brings consistent fundamentals. The OC needs to bring a consistent philosophy.
So let's wrap this up. We've got 2 major hires, 2 big clues about what this team is going to look like. We know we're going to be aggressive on D, we're going to be disciplined on special teams, and we pulled off a heist to get our guys.
It's a pivotal moment. The infrastructure is being built. Now we just need to see the blueprint for the offense.
So, Big Blue Nation, I have to ask you, do you feel better? Do you feel nervous? Or are you, like me, cautiously optimistic, but ready to sprint away from disappointment like it's a haunted house?
It's a fair question, and I'd ask you to consider. Is your focus purely on the OC news right now, or should we already be looking at the draft implications of a Dennard Wilson defense?
Ooh, that is a good one.
If we're going to play this aggressive man coverage style, do we need to prioritize a cornerback high in the draft?
Does the scheme change the draft board? That's the million-dollar question. Drop your takes in the comments. How are you feeling about Wilson? About the Chris Horton heist? Are you still mourning Brasillo like I am?
And keep an eye on the newswire. Things are moving fast.
They sure are. But for now, the message is simple. If the Giants are cooking, let them cook.
Indeed. Let the process unfold.
We'll be back with more tea, more laughs, and hopefully fewer punt return disasters. This has been the Big Blue Tea. Let's go.
Just wanted to say a massive thank you for tuning in to Big Blue Tea.
Absolutely. And, a huge shout out always to Black Freezy TV.
Oh, definitely.
For the fantastic programming, the production, everything that makes this possible.
Yep. Their work behind the scenes is just really appreciated.
It really is.
This has been Big Blue Tea.